Yeah. Though we know who we are, yet we know not what we may be. So maybe I'm the one, or maybe I'm crazy. I'm from.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kalu. Welcome back to your No Malarkey Guide to Programming. In the last video, we were able to get this website up. It looks nice and pretty. We were able to get this information, the software developer, the title, the description for 2 job posting. The thing we talked about though is that this is hard coded. What that means is this is typed this is typed statically into the HTML document. This is not good. We want this information to come dynamically from our database. If you can imagine, HTML coders aren't going around writing new HTML code every time you make a post on Facebook. Instead, that information comes dynamically from the database. So whenever you have a new entry, a new post, that just updates the HTML template directly from the database. We're going to go ahead and learn how to do that. We're talking about databases. That means that we have to talk about Django models. So I want you guys to open this models.py. It's in your job site, job app. Sorry, it's in your job sites, job app folder, models.py, and we're going to register our first model. So what is a model? You could think of a model as creating a database table. You can see here that we have this db.sqlite 3. Django comes with a SQLite database. It's a lightweight database. It's good for developing things, but you don't want to use it in production. You just want to use it for testing things out. But it's a good database that works right out the bat. And we are going to be creating database tables. What is a database table? As you can imagine, an Excel sheet. So an Excel sheet looks just like this. It has a whole bunch of rows. It has a whole bunch of columns. In our database, we're going to create job listings. So just like this, in our index.html, we have a job listing that has a title and a description. We're similarly going to put in our database a job listing table that has a column for a title and a column for a description. So just to do that, and it's going to also have a column for ID. That way we can give some sort of ID to each row in the database. We can have some way to reference it in the future. And to do that, we go to models.py and we immediately want to import. Actually, we don't want to import. Yeah, let's go ahead and immediately write our first model. Do class in the name of the table you want to create. So we want to make it look something like this. We want to call it job listing. And in here, we're going to pass it an object called model. And we get this object from django.db.models import model. And we're going to import a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it nice and pretty and prepare us for importing more things. So what we want, just like we see here, is we want an ID column, a title column, and a description column. So we don't need the ID column. Django provides that automatically for us. Thank you, Django. We just need the title. And the title is going to be a text field. And we're going to add these 2 keyword arguments. Null equals true and blank equals true. That just means that any given job listing entry cannot have a title. Null equals true. Or it could have a blank title, just like nothing, just spaces. So that's all that means right here. So what was this? Software developer. Now that we have that, we're going to copy and paste this and do the same thing for description. If you notice, I have something called Anaconda that helps me out in the highlights whenever I have mistakes. If I click on this, it will tell me that I have an undefined name text object. Yeah, I'm trying to use this object. I have an undefined name text field. I'm trying to use this object without first importing it or creating it. So I'm going to import it, and we are done with our model. This is going to be a dance. We're going to do a lot. We're going to create a model. After we create a model, we're going to go to our terminal, close our server if it's running, and then make migrations. What does make migrations do? I'm going to delete this one, and you guys can just pretend you didn't see that. Make migrations. You guys pretend you didn't see that. I was doing some things earlier before shooting the video, but this is what your migrations folder should look like. It should only have this init.py. So make migrations creates a Python documents within your migrations folder that readies Django to write database code that creates your tables and your columns and everything else just as you specified in your model. So we're going to run that, and as we run it, we're going to look over here. There it is. It created it. If we look at this file, we can see it has an ID. I told you Django would create that for us, and it sure did. It has a title, and it has a description. It also has the job listing right here. So as we continue going on, we now need to tell Django, okay, this looks good. We really don't ever need to check this. I never check this, but we can tell Django, go ahead and execute this file and run the SQL code or PostgreSQL code, whatever database we have. We right here just have SQLite. Run the database code that is necessary to make this table. And this is a very important point about the convenience of Django. We don't have to write database code. You don't have to be a SQL programmer. You don't need to understand these languages in order to make web applications that are database backed. This allows for ease in programming. You're not having to context switch a whole bunch of times to in between different languages just to make a simple web app. So thank you, Django, for switching it, for saving us brain power. As we hit this, I'm gonna look here and we can see that it's running a whole bunch of things, and there we go. So our database table is created. How do we explore this? Well, thankfully, Django, again, thank you, they give us an admin right out the box. With our admin, we can explore any database or any table that we create in our database. So to do that, let's just set up our admin, and we're gonna right away want to do from.models. The dot means in the same folder as this current file, admin.py, there is a models file. Here it is. And from there, we want to import this object, this class object. Oops. And there we go. It is now imported. Let's go ahead and create our first model. So to do that, we just want to do class, and let's call this job listing admin. And we can call this anything, but it's going to be an admin. And we're going to pass it this admin.model admin. And we're just going to give it this list display equals. And we're going to pass it these columns right here, title and description. Title and description. And again, this is just to set up our admin to make it easy to see and interact with our database. Great. Now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and register it at admin.site.register, and we're going to pass it this job listing admin object we just created. I'm sorry, this job listing job listing model we imported from models, and we're going to also pass it this job listing admin object we just created. We're going to save that, go back to our terminal, run our server, and when we run our server, we can go back to our page as we normally do, except this time we're going to do something different. We're going to add a /admin. As you can see here, you remember this /admin URL. We created it when we went to, or we didn't create it, but we saw it earlier when we were at job site URLs, and it was the only one that was included. We added this one, and this actually is what allows us to view this admin page that comes right out the box. Look at that, just pretty and everything. And we need to enter our username and password. But wait, Kalu, you're gonna ask me, what is our username? Don't worry, Django got you covered on that too. You can use this very simple command line argument or command line command to create a super user that can log into the admin and have full super user privileges. So to do that, you just want to kill your server using Control-C, which I've already done, and write Python manage.py create super user with no spaces. It's going to ask you to enter a username. I could enter Kalu, or I could just leave it blank to get Kalu because it is the name of my computer right here. We could enter an email address. I'm just going to write kalu@fake.com. A password, I'm just going to write a super secret password. Just kidding, it's not super secret at all. And I'm going to use those same credentials to log in. Stupidly, I forgot to run server, and of course nothing works without your server running. So first I'm going to run my server, and then once my server is running, I'm going to reload, use my super secret password, and log in. You can see we have access to this job listing table we created, and we could add job listing. I'm going to add a job listing right now. Musician, looking for a hip hop musician to play at our programming, at our hackathon. Let's say perform at our hackathon. Great. We're going to save this. If you're interested, email me at blah 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 at qq.com. And we're gonna save that. Let's add one more just for good measure. Let's say DJ. Do you know any good DJs? Tell them to contact me for a high-paying gig at 555-555-5555. And we're gonna save that. And we're gonna go back to our website, and as you can see, the information displayed here is still this hard-coded information we have right here. How do we get information from our database? We just created these two entries in our job listing table in our database. How do we get this information to reflect on our website? The answer is our views. If you want to pass information from our database to our template, our HTML template, we do that through the views. How do we do it? We pass that information as an argument in a context dictionary right here. So let's do that. First, we need to import from .models import. Again, I'm going to import this object right here that we created, this class object, and then I'm going to query this class objects to create to get a record of every single row in our job listings table. And I'm going to call that job listings because that's what all these records are. Job listing.objects.all, and it's going to go ahead and get that. Once I have that, I can pass it to my HTML template right here, this index.html, using a context dictionary. First, I'm going to give it curly brackets, which is the formation for making a dictionary, the syntax for making a dictionary. I'm going to give it a keyword argument, or a keyword, and I'm just going to call it job listings. So it could be anything we choose, and then I'm going to pass it this object right here, job listings. So we can get access to this in our index.html using this. I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here. And how do we get access to it? Just like this. I'm going to erase this software developer, and I'm going to do double curly brackets. Oops. Job underscore listings. That's what we called it. And I'm going to get the first record in our table, and I'm going to print its title just like that. And let's see what that looks like. We're going to refresh, and this should change from software developer to musician. Let's see. There it is. It changed. And we're going to do the same thing now that we know it works. We're going to do that same thing for the description. So copy this, paste it, and instead of title, we're going to call it description. And again, I'm getting these from these names that I specified in my model. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to save that, save it, refresh, and here it is. Looking for a hip-hop musician. And now we're going to change this cook information. We're going to copy this information right here with Control-C and replace this. And we're going to change this from first to last. And we're going to do this. We're going to change it from first to last, from description to title. We're going to save, Alt-Tab, Control-R to refresh, and now it says DJ and it has this description. We're doing great. So as you can see, we've now made our template dynamically coded. We're pulling this information dynamically from the database instead of hard coding it in our HTML document. What that means is that when information in our database changes, information in our web page also changes. To prove this, I'm going to change this from musician to, we really want a hip-hop musician is also called a rapper. So I'm going to change that. We'll go back here, Control-R, and there it is. It's changed from musician to rapper. And let's change this DJ to what is the, I guess, disc jockey, maybe is a technical term for DJ. Oops, cancel. And we're going to save that. We're going to refresh. And there it is, disc jockey. So whenever information in our database changes, information in our website that's presented to our viewers also changes. One thing though, this is kind of silly. We really made this silly that we have two sections that list out the first entry in our database, okay, the last entry in our database. We're certainly not going to do the second entry, the third entry, the fourth. That wouldn't be a smart way to program. We would repeat ourselves and violate the cardinal sin, the cardinal rule, or commit the cardinal sin and violate the cardinal rule of programming, which is thou shalt not repeat yourself, or don't repeat yourself, the acronym DRY. So we're going to learn a way to do this information without having to repeat it. Just write it once in here and say, repeat this for every entry in our database. That way we don't have to repeat code. We could just tell the computer, hey, repeat this bit of code for every entry in our database, print the title and the description. We're going to learn how to do this next video. Thank you for your patience. You guys have been great. You're coding along. You're going to be a beast of a programmer in any second now. Okay, maybe not a second, but like a week or a month. 2 months, 3 months at max. You're going to be an amazing programmer. I'll see you guys at the next video.
Financial freedom, my only hope.